Imagine staring at the clock, waiting for the bell so you can finally go home. You're 16 years old, living in a new country, working 10-hour days just to help your family get by. Suddenly, someone screams, "Fire!" You run for the exit, but the door is locked from the outside. The elevator isn't working, and the fire escape is literally collapsing under people's feet. This isn't a scene from a movie. It was the real, horrific reality for hundreds of workers on the 25th of March 1911 at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in New York City. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're looking at 18 terrifying minutes that changed American labor forever. If you've ever wondered why your school has fire drills, why buildings have bright exit signs, or why your boss isn't allowed to lock you in a room, it all traces back to this single event. To understand what happened, we have to look at the top floors of the Asch building in NYC, where the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was located. The owners, Max Blank and Isaac Harris, were obsessed with efficiency. To them, workers weren't people, they were just gears in a machine. They manufactured shirtwaists, which were trendy, high-collared, button-down blouses. Inspired by men's shirts and styled up with lace and ruffles, shirtwaists became an absolute staple for the modern working woman. People loved them. One newspaper article from the era even joked about a woman who owned 50 of them without a single duplicate. So business was booming, but inside the factory, conditions were a ticking time bomb. Management routinely locked exit doors so workers couldn't take unauthorized breaks or steal scrap fabric. The building's fire escape was a weak metal structure that ended midair and ended up collapsing under the weight of fleeing workers. There were no fire drills, and the fire hoses in the building had no water pressure. On the 25th of March 1911, a scrap bin caught fire on the 8th floor. Chaos was instantaneous. Because the exits were locked, workers were trapped behind a wall of flame. Elevator doors couldn't handle the rush, and the fire escape failed. Desperate to escape the heat and smoke, dozens were forced to jump from the upper story windows. In just 18 minutes, 146 people, mostly teenage immigrant girls, lost their lives. The public wasn't just heartbroken, they were furious. Over 100,000 people marched in a funeral procession through the rain in New York City to demand justice and real action. Francis Perkins, a witness to the fire, who would later become the U.S. Secretary of Labor, said that the facts of the disaster were so shocking they moved the most cold-blooded to action. That outrage birthed the Factory Investigating Commission, transforming workplace regulation in America. Among the immediate changes, high-rise factories were required to install automatic sprinkler systems. Locking workers inside a building during work hours became a crime. Schools and workplaces were legally obligated to practice evacuation routes. Laws were established so employers had to help cover costs if a worker was injured on the job. It's easy to think of 1911 as ancient history, but your daily safety is built directly on the lessons learned from that tragedy. Next time you're at a venue or starting a new job, take 5 seconds to locate the exit signs. They exist because of the Triangle fire. And if you ever notice an emergency exit blocked by clutter at work, speak up. It's not just an annoyance, it's illegal. Progress usually happens because brave people demand better.